In the last section, we expanded upon the API version and kind properties inside of both our config files. We're now going to start to talk about what a pod is, and then we'll very quickly talk about what a service is as well. Okay, so a pod. All right, quick diagram. Let's find it here. Here we go. All right, so just a moment ago when we went through that setup process to install Minikube and kubectl on your local machine, remember we installed Minikube and then we ran that command minikube start. When we ran that command, it created a new virtual machine on your computer. We refer to that virtual machine that is now running on your computer as a node. That node is going to be used by Kubernetes to run some number of different objects. Now, one of the most basic objects that you and I are going to create throughout this course is something that we refer to as a pod. And so when we start to load up this configuration file right here into kubectl, we're going to push into kubectl, and it's going to create a pod inside of that virtual machine that is running on your computer. And remember, we refer to that thing as a node. Now, the pod itself is essentially a grouping of containers with a very common purpose. Now, you might be wondering why we're making a pod that has a grouping of containers, when just a moment ago I had told you, oh yeah, we want to get something running as a container. Well, in the Kubernetes world, there is no such thing as just creating a container on a cluster. Back with Elastic Beanstalk, back with Docker Compose, we were creating containers willy-nilly all day, no issue whatsoever. But in the world of Kubernetes, we do not have the ability to just run one naked single container by itself with no associated overhead. The smallest thing that you and I can deploy is a pod. So we're always going to be deploying containers within a pod. That's the smallest thing that we can deploy to run a single container. Now you might be wondering, why is that? Why would we make a pod at all? Well, let's talk about why we would make a pod. So the requirement of a pod is that we must run one or more containers inside of it. Now, when I say one or more containers, you might very quickly think back to the multi-container application that we put together. Let's pull up a quick diagram of that thing. I've got one around here somewhere. Here we go. So back on the multi-container application we put together, we had our Elastic Beanstalk, and it was running multiple different containers all in this single little grouping. And so when I tell you that inside of a pod, we will run one or more containers, you might be thinking, oh, okay, that's it, like game over. We're going to take our 4 containers or 4 images right here and create 4 of these containers inside of this one single pod. Well, that would definitely be an option, but it's not what a pod is meant to do. The purpose of a pod is meant to group